I'm here with my good friend Tonino Miano, whom I know from way back as a tango dancer. We were on the tango scene in New York, and I think it was a long time before we both realized that each of us are pianists,
Yes,
right?
as it usually happens on the tango scene. Nobody's interested about anything else other than dancing. So it took about 6 months, maybe a year, before we realized we were both pianists.
And then we had a lot to talk about, and then I think each of us kind of drifted away from the tango scene with our musical endeavors.
Yes.
And but we caught up with one another on Facebook and a while back, and I saw some interesting things coming from you musically. And recently, I was very curious about this book that you wrote, the Non-Tonal Technical Studies, and it comes in. That's the second volume. Here's the first volume. They come together, and I thought, well, now that's pretty cool. I'm doing a new music project myself, and I thought I have to find out more about what Tonino's up to. And not long after that, I saw that you had a review and endorsement from Stephen Huff, and I thought, okay, now that's pretty impressive. So I said, I got to get a hold of you and find out how that happened.
Yeah. Before I came out with the book, I wanted to make sure I had a strategy for doing this effectively. So one of the things I wanted to do is to ask prominent pianists to endorse the book, so that would put me already on a better footing than just come out on my own. At first I contacted these prominent pianists, among which Stephen Huff, and via email. So he responded within a couple of weeks, and I said, that sounds very interesting, to send it to me. And I did, and I got an amazing response from him, and an amazing response from other pianists that I sent this to. So it was very good for me to have that, because it also reinforced the idea that no matter how famous and successful some people are, they don't hesitate in giving. And that was a very powerful experience, because all these people have been givers to me. They have supported me. They have supported me in many different ways. Stephen Huff particularly has been extremely generous with his support. He wrote a blog. He wrote an article on his blog about piano technique, and he was grateful. He was gracious enough to include my book and tweet it, you name it.
So tell me, Tonino, what was your inspiration for this project, for your non-tonal technical studies? What's the need that these books fill?
Yeah, when I came here, I was about 26 years old. About a year later, because of what I was doing, because of my main interest was free improvisation, free jazz, contemporary avant-garde. So it was really gravitating around the non-tonal language. And I thought to myself, I really wanted to give my research into this sound some technical ground. I wanted to investigate things in a more methodical way. So I said to myself, I think I need to make my own technical studies, because there was nothing like that around, and to me it made no sense that I would practice technique, tonal technique, and then I would improvise non-tonally. If I were to give my music some technical background, it had to be coherent with what the language was. So I began to work on them as a personal project. And then I realized in time that there wasn't anything like that around. I thought that we already had gone through over 100 years of modern music since Debussy, Bartok, Prokofiev, all these people, and then through Schoenberg, Beethoven, and Stockhausen, and Beyer, and all these people, and so on and so forth. And now we're in the 21st century, and it made no sense to me that over 100 years, over a century of non-tonal music wasn't backed up by a method of non-tonal technique. I mean, because if you study classical music, you will study scales and arpeggios and all those things that make up that language. And, well, if you study non-tonal technique, what are you going to do? To me, it was pretty clear that something was missing. So I decided to not just to embrace this as a personal project, but think about it as something that a lot of other people could benefit from. I'm going to play the first study from the chromatic section of the first volume. These are melodic studies, and they go through a set of motions. So I'm going to play the first pattern, and then I'm going to put it through this set of motions. I'm going to play a melodic study from the whole tone section of the first volume. This is a study from the chromatic section of the second volume. And the interesting thing about this study is that it has 2 parts, and it's the idea of expansion and contraction. And it uses the thirds going in opposite directions, so chromatically, but each one of them spells a whole tone chord. So it's polyvalent, so to speak. It has a chromatic component and a whole tone component at the same time. And the second part is, the contraction part is that it's a polytonal pattern. So you have a set of 2 small arpeggi of major ninth arpeggios and a chromatic movement of thirds here. So.
This is quite attractive as music. Forget about it just as an exercise. It's just quite attractive.
Thank you. Well, that was my point. My point was to work on something that had conceptual qualities to it, technical, conceptual, musical qualities to it. Technical studies, I didn't want to call them exercise. I wanted to call them studies because they had to have, even though they're just patterns, there's patterns and they are somewhat transposed chromatically, octatonically, or whole tone, through the whole tone scale. But I want them to have the quality of something that requires conceptual shifting. To a 12th tone that has it's at a melodic and harmonic type of fragmentation, typical of pointillism.
Tonino Miano for joining me this evening to play from your book, Non-Technical Studies. They were terrific. We appreciate the explanation and the demonstration. And so why don't you play something for us to play us out of the segment?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Tonino.